Okay, so here's the deal. Once a year, Mike Victor Uniform has to undergo the annual inspection. It's that time of year. So I'm up at Chris's hangar, Chris's shop. Chris isn't here today, which means I'm going to start doing all of the grunt work myself. My job today is to strip Mike Victor Uniform down, take out the interior, take off all the inspection panels, get it all completely ready for Chris so that when he comes back tomorrow, he can start doing the inspection. And then I just follow along behind him, putting things back together. I've got a full day's work. Chris has apprentices now. So what are you looking for?
Looking for cracks.
Pot of gold.
Looking at the wires. All the control rods and cables. Making sure they're not frayed. And making sure they're in safety up in here. Travel stops are hitting. And just having a good look at the interior.
So what's worse, drilling out the rivets or smashing them in?
It's I actually kind of enjoy the riveting. It's kind of fun. It's just not like I'm a grunt mechanic, and so there's guys that are much better. Like if we go back to episode question mark when Andre was doing it. Yeah, Andre's pro. He would have this off and halfway back on by now, and I'm still thinking about what my next move is. So whatever, and we'll see if it goes back together. It's just it's a proficiency thing, and so if maybe you'd consider me your general practitioner. You go to the doctor, and then he says, okay, you need to go to the knee surgeon. So. Does that doctor know anything about your knees? Yes, he does. But is he the best guy to fix it? No. So that's sort of the way my take on it. And so I try and hand it off. But in this case, Andre, wherever you are, he's not responding. And so we're going to do it. I have replaced one of these bowls before. I don't think I did it on this one, but I have done it before. We'll see what, if we can we'll get through it. It's just not the best thing. I'm not the best at it. Or the other one on this one is you go like that. This takes a bit of hand strength. I don't know if your little meanies will do it, but you go like that, and then it comes over the other side. Yeah. There's Bosco right there. We're gonna deal with him.
The offending piece.
We should have cleaned the inside of the cowling first. There we go. The offensive piece. That's a wall hanger. You want to hang it up on the wall there?
I was going to hang it in my hanger.
All right, okay.
So much of what you do on an airplane is blind. You can't see the part you're fixing. You can't see the place you're putting it. And replacing the bearings on the flaps is no different. So, Chris, this was all done by hand in 1961, and yet the holes line up.
Well,
Kind of?
they must have been like there must have been some sort of pattern or something. I guess like you're right. We drilled extra holes or whatever. Did I ever change this one or it's been changed?
It's been changed. Yeah.
And so that's what the secondary holes are. Like it's like pitch. So they've half the pitch to make the holes where the holes didn't line up. They've changed pitch to make it more whatever. But that hole lines up. That one, like once I get a bunch of clecos in here, you'll see most of them are like that. Or okay, wait, maybe I talk it too soon. These ones don't look like they're lining up hardly at all. They're just a hole right.
So they kind of line up.
Oh, it might just be like it's like, there's going to be some movement. Let's see. That one, there we go. There's one there.
So once you get a few clecos in,
Yeah, it just should, like as they come around, it should kind of form itself. Yeah, see, that one's right there.
and then the next one comes in. Oh, and this one's coming in, and that one.
It's going to go.
Yeah.
And then what I'll do is I'll cleco them all so it's set.
Yep.
Even just looking at it, not that we're there yet, but remember before this sat different height?
Yeah.
So maybe I was putting off something that I should have done sooner.
Edenville traffic, Foxtrot, Mike Victor Uniform, backtracking 3-1 for departure, Edenville.
And Edenville traffic, Golf Golf Uniform, Charlie is holding short of 3-1 on Delta.
Edenville traffic, Mike Victor Uniform, rolling on 3-1, left turnout, southeast bound to Oshawa.
Edenville traffic, close to Delta, about cross the ground base. Traffic, Golf Golf Uniform Charlie is backtracking runway 31.
So there we are, another annual in the books. This was a good one. Uneventful. Uneventful is always good. But it was also a good one because this year Chris has 2 apprentices in the shop. And having them, a fresh set of eyes, look at everything. Because Chris and I have gone over this plane so many times. We've had it apart. We've looked at every little thing. Having a fresh set of eyes is a fantastic idea, and I'm glad that we had that. So, plane's gone through. No squawks, no squeaks. You do all the normal things. You grease the wheel bearings, and go through everything. lubricate everything that needs to be lubricated, check everything that needs to be checked. We changed one of the rollers on one of the flaps out here as well, just to give it a little bit better spacing than what it had. Took a look at the engine. We know that there's problems with the engine. They're not getting really any worse, but we know that there's a baseline that it needs to be, something needs to be done. Chris and I talked about that quite a bit. And then we changed that piece on the cowl. I've got the old one behind the seat. It'll go on the wall in the hangar. It's so nice to have a cowl that doesn't have cracks and tape holding it together. And we'll see how long that one lasts. They're old, and they get, with age and vibration, they get work hardened, and that leads to cracking. So we'll see what happens. I've looked at having one made out of a composite material, but right now the regulatory hoops that I'd have to jump through were just going to be onerous. So I'm going to leave that for a little while. Now that the annual is done and the weather looks like it's turning, still snow on the ground. There's still ice on the lake out here, but you know, we're looking at temperatures in the 10 and 12 degrees Celsius for daytime highs over the next week. So I'll be out and flying a lot more, and I've got quite a few trips coming up. I think I've got some exciting things lined up to film, so I'm pretty pumped to get out there and get doing them.
In the Course Lakes area, Golf Sierra Echo Quebec, working 4,500 and below over top of Cameron Lake.
So thanks for sticking around for this one. From here on in, we're just going to listen to radio calls and land at Oshawa. Thanks so much for watching, for sticking around, and I will see you on the next one. Oshawa Tower, this is Foxtrot Mike Victor Uniform.
Golf Foxtrot, Mike Victor Uniform, Oshawa Tower.
Oshawa Tower, Mike Victor Uniform, Cessna 172 with information Zulu inbound for landing, abeam the town of Uxbridge 3,500, last departed Edenville.
Mike Victor Uniform Tower, runway 30, wind is 320 at 5, altimeter 3025, third right downwind, report entering the control zone.
Right downwind and report entering the control zone, Mike Victor Uniform.
Oshawa Tower, it's Golf Juliet, Quebec Juliet with Zulu.
Golf Juliet, Quebec Juliet, Oshawa Tower.
Yeah, Golf Juliet, Quebec Juliet, about 11 to the north, just east of Uxbridge, inbound full stop.
Juliet, Quebec Juliet Tower, runway 30, wind is 360 at 6 knots, altimeter 3025, cleared right downwind, report entering the control zone. Traffic about 8 miles to the northwest is an inbound 172, 2,600 feet unverified.
Okay, clear to the downwind, and I'll report entering the zone and look for the traffic for Juliet, Quebec Juliet.
And Mike Victor Uniform Cherokee, traffic about 10 miles to the northwest, inbound 3,500 feet descending unverified.
Looking for traffic, Mike Victor Uniform. Mike Victor Uniform entering the zone, 2,300 descending.
Mike Victor Uniform Tower, thank you. If you can keep your speed up as much as practicable, you're number 1, report turning right base.
Keep my speed up, report right base, Mike Victor Uniform.
And Juliet, Quebec Juliet Tower, I'm anticipating you following the traffic. Currently at about your 1 o'clock for 3 miles, just to the west of Brooklyn, 2,200 feet, joining the downwind at Farfront.
Okay, I'm just north of Brooklyn, 2,500 for Juliet, Quebec Juliet. I'll look for the traffic.
Juliet, Quebec Juliet Tower, roger.
Okay, still looking for Juliet, Quebec Juliet. Tower, it's Juliet, Quebec Juliet. I don't have that traffic, but I'd like to turn towards downwind if I could.
Juliet, Quebec Juliet, they are just over the Enterprise hangar. Juliet, Quebec Juliet, you're fine to turn downwind. They'll be mid-downwind to beam the numbers for 2-3 in probably about 15 seconds.
Oh, I think I just saw a shadow of the traffic. Could you look back to it? Thanks.
Mike Victor Uniform Tower, don't worry about the base call. Wind is 320 at 8. It is quite variable from 300 over to 040 and clear to land runway 30.
Cleared to land 30, Mike Victor Uniform.
Oshawa Tower, this is Golf Sierra Delta November with information Zulu.
Golf Sierra Delta November, Oshawa Tower.
Oshawa Tower, Sierra Delta November will be joining, will be landing active runway currently about 5 minutes northwest of Oshawa.
Sierra Delta November Tower, roger. Say altitude, please.
3,400 currently.
Sierra Delta November Tower, roger. Runway 30, wind 300 at 5, altimeter 3025. Cleared right downwind, report entering the control zone.
We'll report entering a zone cleared for right downwind, Sierra Delta November.
Golf Sierra Charlie Tango, Oshawa Tower. Mike Victor Uniform Tower, exit right on runway 05, contact ground 118.4 went off.
05, contact ground went off, Mike Victor Uniform. Offshore ground, Mike Victor Uniform on 05, requesting taxi to the T's.
Mike Victor Uniform ground, taxi up runway 05 Delta.
05 Delta, Mike Victor Uniform. Okay, so not my most graceful landing. There's another aircraft that was right behind me, and I could see it on ADS-B, but he could not get a visual on me. Faster aircraft, pretty close. Tower was going to keep us separated, but I wanted to get on the ground, stay out of his way, because he was a faster aircraft. So I cut the base. I turned my base turn early, which left me a little bit high, but you know, I've got 40 degrees flaps, and I still came in pretty nicely. Sometimes you can't go by the book. London Radio, this is Foxtrot Mike Victor Uniform.
Foxtrot Mike Victor Uniform, London Radio.
London Radio, Foxtrot Mike Victor Uniform, Cessna 172 on a VFR flight plan from Edenvale to Oshawa. I have arrived at Oshawa. I'd like to close, please.
Mike Victor Uniform, London Radio, roger. VFR flight plan closed, alerting services terminated. Have a good day.
Thanks very much. You as well. Thank you everyone for making it to the end of the video and for hanging on to watch this next bit. As in past years, in 2026, I will again be raising money for Hope Air. Hope Air is a charity here in Canada that connects people in need of medical care or medical treatments with transportation to get from where they live to where the treatment is available. In Canada, healthcare is universal. Healthcare is freely given to anyone who steps up and says, I need treatment or I need care. The problem exists in the way, the sheer size of Canada's geography and the way our population is distributed. There are some people who live in areas that are underserved by healthcare, and they need to travel to the larger centers, be it Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, Toronto, Winnipeg, Montreal,
Halifax or St. John's. There are people who live in Canada's north or in more remote areas where getting to one of those centers to get treatment, be it cancer treatment or ongoing operations for some other health concern, getting to those centers is incredibly difficult, incredibly stressful, especially if it's a child that needs this health care. There are places in Canada where you could be driving 10 or 12 hours to access the treatments that you need. There are places in Canada where there is no road access. You may live in a town that is fly-in only. So what Hope Air does is utilize private pilots like myself who volunteer their time to fly to some of these locations, pick up people, and bring them to the treatment that they need. Or at least bring them to a larger center where they can get on a commercial flight, again, provided by Hope Air, to the city where the treatment is available. And for parents who are bringing their children for this type of healthcare, Hope Air also has partnerships with hotels where they can provide hotel stays for the parents during this, stressful time. For those of us that live in the big cities in Canada, this is something that we don't really think about. But there was a time where Julie and I lived in Northern Ontario, and we lived in towns and villages where, it was 3 hours just to drive to get to a grocery store, let alone drive somewhere where complex medical care could be given. And we were very cognizant of that when we lived there. I'm in the incredibly fortunate position that I can make a change, that you can help make a change. Last year, my viewers, you, donated $40,000 to Hope Air. That's an incredible amount of money. That really changed lives. That helped a lot of people. And I'm so thankful to you that you would open up and do that. It's absolutely incredible. And so for 2026, I'm hoping that we can do that again. In August of 2026, I will again be participating in Give Hope Wings, which is where a bunch of pilots like myself, we go out and we fly around and we raise awareness and we raise money and we sort of put a spotlight on the fact that this charity exists and this need exists and this gap needs to be filled. And so this summer we're going to the East Coast. Some of the highlights are Halifax, St. John's, Newfoundland, Goose Bay, Labrador. Then we're on to Rimouski and Trois-Rivières and ending up again in Sudbury. So I hope you'll come along with me over on the Flying Channel on that trip. Julie and I will be making it this year, and hopefully you will enjoy coming along with us. And if you can donate money to Hope Air, I thank you very much. I also understand that if you don't live in Canada, you may not feel a connection to this. I would hope that you you could find something in your community that you could help out with. I think that we really need to be a community of people that help each other. That's the only way through this, is to help each other and to give of our time to those that need it. So I thank you very much. So I will put all the links for Hope Air and everything they do in the description box below. Please check them out. And I thank you in advance for however you can help.